Yeah, we left off over here. Ravashi. See it? Two. Israel. Okay, Ravashi. You have it? Hello. Kuf Chaf Aleph. Over here. Ravashi. You have this. The Gemara says like this: if a person goes and falls into an ocean, and you can't see the perimeters of the water, so we say, even if you can't locate him, we don't say he drowned. There's a chance he swam out somewhere, and his wife cannot remarry. And that's the way we rule. La'alocha. Person disappears in the water. Although we didn't see him come out, we don't say he necessarily drowned. Somehow, could be he was pushed out with a wave somewhere, and he came out somewhere else, and we're not aware. Okay? That the Chum say that if it's Maim Shein Lamsof, his wife is not permitted. Hani mili b'inish alma, an ordinary person, where the husband was an ordinary person. Avol Tsumi Rabbanon, no, but if a person was a great Talmud Chacham, that's not the case. Why? Either Sol Kol Islay, because if wherever he comes out, because he has a reputation, people are going to say he's there. So word will get back. So if we don't hear about it, that's an indication that he died. Veloi, and the Muslim, but that's not the case. Loshna Yinish Dalma, Loshna Tsumi Rabbanon, we don't make a differentiation. That the wife is not permitted to marry. However, the Evidain L'Chatchilo, that's only L'Chatchila not. But what happens if she does marry? We will not force the person to give a divorce. Yeah? If it's an ordinary person, she marries, the man who marries her has to separate from her. But if it's Tsumi Rabbanon, we won't condone it, but if they're married, we'll let them stay married. Child's kosher. We'll allow them to stay married. Evidently, it's not an issue. Tanya, Omer Rabbi Gamliel, listen to the story. You have the place? I know you don't have the place. 121A. It's about 20 lines up from the bottom. Further up. It's further up than that. Not too much. Tanya, Rabbi Gamliel was the Nasi. He said he was traveling on a boat. And he saw a shipwreck on the ocean, you know. And he says he was pained because there was a Talmud Chacham on that ship who drowned. And who was that Talmud Chacham? One Reb Kiva. Hear this? It was Reb Kiva. So when he finally came to land from the boat, with his boat docked, who's there? Reb Kiva's there. He thought Reb Kiva drowned. And all of a sudden he finds Reb Kiva's there engaging with the halacha. He says to Reb Kiva, my son, how did you come out of the water? I thought you drowned. The boat sank. There was a board of the boat, hear that? And he was able to grab onto the piece of wood. And every time a wave came, he bent his head and let the wave go over him. Rather than the wave crashing into him, which he would drown, he lowered his head and the wave went over him. He was holding on to this beam, and because even if you hold on to the beam, if the beam hits you directly, it kills the person. Either it dislodges the beam or it causes him to drown. But he bent his head. He bowed his head. So, listen to this. If a person is Rishom come upon him, Rishoim, okay? You should actually be evaded. Keep quiet. Let them do what they want. Because there's no way you could stand up against these people. Because if you go head-to-head with them, they're going to destroy you. So Leo realized, he thought for sure Reb Leo, that Reb Kiva died, he drowned, but then he finds him alive. So Reb Leo says, you see how great are the words of the Chachomim? She'amru, Maim Sheish Lamsof, Teres, right? If you could see the perimeters of the water, that's when his wife is permitted to remarry. Maim Shein Lamsof, which is the ocean, Asura, because here he thought Reb Kiva died, and then Reb Kiva is there, engaging with what Alocha. Tanya, Reb Kiva, another story. He sees a ship listing in the ocean, going down. Talmud Chochem Shabo Mon Reb Meir. He was pained. There was somebody, a great Talmud Chochem on the boat, on the ship, Reb Meir. So he felt he drowned. When he came to the country, the community of Kaputkia, how does he translate Kaputkia? He comes out. All of a sudden, Reb Meir is there, engaging with Reb Kivin Alocha. He says, "How did you come out?" Omar li galtir deni lechavero v'chaver lechavero achi keonu labashu. One wave pushed me onto another wave. He was like on a wave. He rode the waves, and then finally he was spit out of the ocean onto dry land. That's how he survived. Amarti lo bosa shor. So he said to Rameh at that moment, Kama gedolim divri chachomim. How great are the words chachomim she'omru mayim she'esh lam sof ishtu muteres. That if you're able to see all the sides of the water, the perimeters of the water, his wife's permitted. Mayim she'ein lam sof. But if you're not able to see ishtu mutera, ishtu asura, the wife's not permitted. So that's the story over here. If it was an ocean, could you see all the ends of the ocean? You can't see. Therefore, and you see factually, you see he was alive. How does he translate kaputkia? Kaputkia. Let me see it. Kaputkia. What is kaputkia? You know what kaput means. Okay. No, you're on the wrong side of the page. That's the reason why. We're on 121A. You're on 121B. It's a good thing you're in the right Masechta. Okay. Kaputkia, he says, what's the footnote 39? Kaftor. Cappadocia, an ancient province in Asia Minor, included in modern-day Turkey. Okay. Ton Rabbanan. Interesting shaila. What happens if a person is thrown into a lion's pit? And his wife, is she permitted to marry? Or we say there's a chance. He survived it. Right? If a person was thrown to a lion's pit, lion's den, you cannot testify that he definitely died. There's a chance he survived it. What if he's thrown into a snake pit? Snake pit, which is filled with snakes and scorpions, they could say he died. They could testify the man he was definitely bitten by one of the poisonous snakes, by the scorpions. Man died. No, we don't know. Person was thrown, you disappeared. You had to run for your life. They were throwing people in, and he was thrown in there. Could you testify that he was thrown in there? It means he's dead. So we say the lion's den, not the snake pit, yes. Yes. You hear this? Even if he's thrown into the snake pit, also you can't. Rabbi Yehuda argues. He says you can't. Chayshinon, what are we afraid of? Chayshinon shemach chaviru. Maybe he was a person who knew all kinds of incantations, and through uttering an incantation, he was able to control the snakes and scorpions that he shouldn't be bitten. Maybe he's a chavir. Tanakama. So what does Tanakama say? That he's as good as dead when he falls into the snake pit and not by the lions. He says, Agavitzo maskile. When a person falls into the pit and he hits them, because of the pressure, when you engage with a snake, you fall on them, they bite you immediately. That's the reaction. You hear the story. A person fell into a fire, a furnace, a kiln. Midin Olav. You could testify the man's dead. He died. What about if you had a pot, a vat cooking with wine or oil, olive oil? Midim Olav. Yeah, there's also. Why? Because he definitely died. There's no way he could survive it. If it's a vat of oil, you could say he died. Why? Because what happens? You have the fire. So what happens when the person goes in? It overflows. So if it overflows, what happens? The oil, it's flammable. It actually, the fire, it becomes even more intense. So therefore he died. Shel yayin mean all of wine, because when the wine overflows its top, it extinguishes the fire. Even though you could say, just from the hot wine you could die. There's a chance he's alive. He may be unconscious, but he may be alive. Mishnah says there was an incident. Person fell into a pit, meaning it was a well. Tanya Omalo Reb Meir, and he came out alive. Reb Meir says, no, even if he fall into a well, he doesn't come out. Reb Meir holds, you can't testify as why he died to allow us to remarry. So the Gemara asks, and he says there was an incident, a person fell into a well, and he came out. That's the story. So the Chacham say, it's a miracle. I mean, you know something? He walked across the Atlantic because it split. The Atlantic splits every day? How often? If you take a poll, how many people survive it? My Masanisim, what does it mean? What was the Masanisim that he survived in the well? He didn't eat or drink for an extended period of time, and he came out alive. Aksiv, we find by Purim, V'tzuma alive al tochel tishtu, that you could actually survive not eating or drinking for a number of days. Elad lo naim, you can say maybe you didn't sleep. So if you didn't sleep, you fall asleep in the water, you drowned. Now, how long could you keep going? Damer Rabbi Yochanan, shua shlu isha shloshi yomim. If a person takes a shua, he will not sleep 3 days. It's impossible. You have to doze off. A human being cannot go without sleep for 3 days. So you take such a shua, it's considered a shua in vain. Malkin also, you give malchus. And he sleeps immediately. Rameir my taimo. So how does Rameir answer it? How do you sleep? If a person falls asleep in the pit for such an extended period of time, he's definitely going to drown. Omar Rav Kana, Gabi keeping, meaning in this wellspring, the stones jutted out. So he was able to lean on the stone. So he could fall asleep and secure himself. He's not going to slip into the water. That's the story. Here? You say, how long could you tread water? Eventually, it's already 4 days, the man's going to fall asleep. He falls asleep, he drowns. But if, let's say, he's in this pit and there's a stone jutting out, he's able to hold on to it, he can fall asleep in a way where he secures himself, he's not going to fall into the water. Rabbanan the Shaisha Hava, Rabbanan they argue, but it was smooth. The walls were smooth. So if it's a smooth-walled pit, what is it? It's a miracle. That he came out is a miracle. Rameir Yevshed Lo Misrach V'Naim Ported. It's not possible. Yeah, even if it's smooth, there are always sometimes crevices in the wall. You never know the person's able to hold on. He's able to secure himself to the wall. Just read an article. 2 guys, they just scaled a mountain, straight-faced mountain. There were little tiny crevices in the wall, and they were able to hold on to that, and they were able to go up the mountain. I think it was called El Capitan. It's out in California somewhere, and they were able to scale the mountain. Straight, like a straight wall. Yeah, this story is of Gemara in Bava Kama. There was an incident, the daughter of the Chunya, Chofe Sichen. This Reb Nechunya, he would dig water cisterns for the Jews who were Ola L'Regel. You hear this? Jews would go to Regel, they needed water on the way. So he would dig all these pits. The Jews would have water till they get up to Yerushalayim. So what happened is the water, she fell into a large well. Okay? Obovo dealer Chanina Mendoza, they went to inform Reb Chanina Mendoza. What happened? Chanina Mendoza was the tzaddik, was the chosed of the generation. Shori Shona Omar Lehem Shalom. The first hour she was in the pit with the water, she's still alive. She's still alive. Shni Omar Lehem Shalom. The second hour, she said she's still alive. Shlish is Omar Lehem also. The third hour, he says, she came out. She's out of the pit. Because more than 3 hours, she couldn't survive it. She's out. Omar lo bitik miheloch. So finally, she came to him. After she came, he was right. You hear this? She was right. He says, who took you out of the pit? He asked the girl, who took you out of the pit? Omar lo zocher sharecholim niznam. All of a sudden, I see a male sheep, a goat. V'zokin manigo, and there's an elderly Jew leading this goat, sheep. Armalo Noviatos, and he said to Reb Chanina, how did you know she was alive? How do you know after the third hour she had to come out of the pit, out of the well, out of the water cistern? Omar lehem lo novi anoche lo ben novi anoche. I'm not a prophet. I'm not the son of a prophet. Elo dovish tzadik misaski bo likosh bozaro. Since Reb Nechunya Chofer Gumas all his life was dedicated to provide water for Jews going up to Yerushalayim, there's no way his daughter could die through water. Since he used the water all his life and sacrificed for it, to provide, to do mitzvah, there's no way his progeny could be harmed through water. That's the reason why I knew definitely she survived. Omer Abba Apish became Nesbedo Betsoma. You hear this? Even though his son died of thirst. Meaning, his daughter to drown in water, that's an impossibility. Because that's the object of water used for a mitzvah. But factually, his son died of thirst. Shenemar. Now the question is, such a tzaddik, why does he deserve such pain? So what is it? It's midas hadin. So Mara quotes the pasuk, Usvivov nisaro ma'od. Around him, what is nisaro ma'od? Malam she'akadosh baruch hu medakting im svivov kichut asaro. Meaning HaKadosh Baruch Hu is exacting with those who are closest to him, even as much as a hairbreadth. If a tzaddik goes and deviates as much as a hairbreadth, Hashem demonstrates the attribute of din. Rav Chinom Mihocha Kel Narods Besot Kedoshim Rabba. The Noral Kol Sviva, those who are around him, who are close to him, within his proximity, it's like awesome. There's tremendous fear. Why? Because if you're close to the fire, you get burnt. Okay? So Tosas asks, why? Why did his son die of thirst? Because Reb Nechunya Chofef Sichen, he didn't create the pit. You understand? He died of thirst. So what's thirst? There's a lack of water. Here, if you create something to use for something good, so that is what? Your child cannot be harmed through that. But here there was a lack of water. For lack of water, that could happen. Afilu Shama min Anoshim. Omros Mes Ploni Dayo. Let's see, women, they were chatting, idle talk, gossiping. That, yeah, so-and-so died. The women themselves talk. That's enough. That's sufficient to allow a woman to remarry. Even though it's gossip, doesn't make a difference. Because the presumption is that there is truth to what they're saying. Rabbi Yudome afilu sham min atinokas omrim reino hochem lispo v'likvar sish plonik bein shu miskavim bein shen miskavim. Yeah, all these cases, Rabbi Yudah says, yeah, children saying we're going to hear a eulogy, to eulogize, or to bury so-and-so, whether they intend to say he died or they were just talking like this, you believe them. It's enough, sufficient reason to let the woman remarry. Rabbi Yehuda Bava Omer, Rabbi Yehuda Bava says, B'Yisrael api shu miskavim. If it's a Jew, even though he's coming to testify, the man died, you believe him. What about a goy? A goy you can't trust. But what about a goy just in passing? He's not coming to tell you the man died. In passing, he mentioned, oh, by the way, I did business with somebody yesterday, and he died yesterday. So what's his intent? His intent's not telling he died. He's telling you that he did business with the man. Or he's telling you over a story where he was yesterday. It's unbelievable. I just was in the business there yesterday. He had a heart attack and died. So, but he's not coming to testify that the man died. If it's in that context, even if the information is coming from a goy, it's sufficient to allow the woman to remarry. Okay? But if he says he died and therefore his wife's permitted, let's say we would express it that way, then it's clear what his intent is. We can't trust the man. Maybe he's only saying it to let his wife remarry, but he can't be trusted. So the Mara asks, it says, if you hear children saying, we're going to the funeral, to the eulogy of so-and-so, that's enough, that's sufficient to allow a woman to remarry. So the Mara asks a question, but maybe they're not going. They're not saying they're going, they said we just came back. See, if they said we're going, they never arrived. They heard he died, but they never saw that they never were at the funeral, these children. So therefore, what about this? We're just coming back from the funeral. So that means the man was put in the ground, right? The man was dead. So Mar says, the Kamri, boin mi lispot umilik barish ploni. Mar says, the Dilma kamtsa balma shochiv. Maybe we're talking about maybe a grasshopper died. And children, when they play the games, they call the grasshopper Mr. So-and-so, and the other grasshopper Rabbi so-and-so. So that's how they named the grasshopper after some person.
So what's the difference in this case to before when we say that gossip that he died?
No, the gossip is coming from adults, women. Women are gossiping.
Okay, but over here
These are children. How do you know? Maybe maybe the children are playing a game. They called the grasshopper Obama.
children say they don't.
Yeah. They play like a person plays office. No, you're the CEO and you're the this and you're that. Okay, good. And you're the janitor. Okay. So they took who died? A grasshopper died. So they're using the grasshopper as if they're officiating at a funeral. But maybe nobody died. And they named the grasshopper after a person, right? Yeah, that's, what's it, Mr. Green Giant? What's he called? Okay. So the Gemara asked the question, maybe it's a grasshopper. And that the Gemara says, the kama chen v'chein, Rabbon havosim. They said, and rabbis so-and-so were there. So if they're already mentioning rabbinic personalities there, so that means it's a real funeral. Chen v'chein sabdoni havusham. Expert eulogizers were there. So it's not they're limiting it just, they're the eulogizers, but they're identifying the people were there. Says if the goy, his intent was to allow the woman to remarry, then you don't believe the man. You don't believe the goy. What is it? That the intent of the goy was to permit her to remarry. But what about it was regarding something else? Let's say a man says, we're waiting for somebody to come to the last passenger, and the guy says, forget about it. It's a waste of time. The man died yesterday. Right? A person's traveling to a meeting. He says, he's traveling. The guy says, it doesn't pay to go. The man's no longer alive. Then you believe me, although it's specifically to tell you he's dead. Mm-hmm. Because that is unrelated to what? To allowing one to remarry. How do you know whether his intent is to permit the woman or if it's for some other reason? He comes to the court and says, so-and-so died. You're permitted now to marry off his wife. That's what he tells the Bezdin. Since I know his wife he died, now you're permitted to allow his wife to remarry. That's what he says to the court. So it's clear. What's his intent? By offering this information to allow the wife to remarry. We don't believe the man. Unless he comes to court and says, but so-and-so died. So he's just coming to offer testimony. He's not coming to allow necessarily. He wants to just inform the court. You should know the man died. He's a Jew. It's important you people should know he died. That's all. But it's not because he has intent, because he wants the woman to be able to remarry. When is the goy not believed? That's only if the intent of the testimony was to permit the woman to remarry. He says, but what you're saying, that's not the incident that took place with Oshia Berebi. What was the story? She hisris. Oshia ben Rebbe, he stood up against Shmonim Chamishas Kenim. Omalem Loshon Eloshinskavin Lahatir. Avoniskavin Loedi Dusa Edus. For the Hodulu Chachom, you hear this? He held that if the goy's testimony is to permit her to remarry, you don't believe him, but otherwise you do believe his testimony, although he means to testify. But there were 85 Chachomim, Zakenim, who disagreed with him. So if that's the case, you see he's not believed. Right? Even though it's unrelated to remarry. So what's the case? That if he's miskaving Lord, what's the case? He's telling you over a story. He's not coming to court officially to give you. He says, by the way, I was doing a business deal, and the guy died on the spot during the deal. That's what he tells over the story. So he's not coming to give you any edus. It's not within context official testimony. Then you believe that's called Masich. If it's in passing, he gives you that information. Like there was an incident, V'ozil. Somebody was saying, V'ozil, man iko bechivoi, man iko bechivoi. Somebody was looking, he says, who's from the family bechivoi? To hear, sheyishma divrei shchiv chivoi, the shoch chivoi. Who's from the family bechivoi? Because I want to tell him that he passed away. Yeah, he says, man ika bechivoi, shoch chivoi. He just wants to inform the family that he died. They should know. The answer of Yosef, when Rav Yosef heard that, said Misichli Tumo, Rav Yosef went and married his wife, his widow. Based on that testimony, even though it wasn't official testimony, Hahu Habo Ka'omar, was a violate la Parsha Zrizo. The Ave Pumbedis to the Shochif, hear this, he says, the guy says, woe to that powerful man. From Pumbedis he died. That's all he said. He's saying, that powerful person, you think he never died, he died. That's what the guy said. So it's not within the context of Eidos. He's just informing you in a fact. Itzver of Yosef, also Rav Yosef, evidently married many women, right? the Tamer Rabba Lidvisu. Either Rav Yosef married the widow, his wife, this person's wife, or Rava based on what? On that testimony. Huda v'koma v'ozel man iko beichasa tova chasa. Same story. Who's from him? Chasa drowned. He drowned. Omer Rav Nachman Elkim ochlu kavri lechaser bidbur Rav Nachman Oslo. The second. Doma achlu kavri v'omer mi tein shiyalev yinotzel. What was the story? A person came. He says, Chava drowned. Miko bechasa tova chasa. Omer Rav Nachman Elokim. Rav Nachman says, Elokim, ochlu kavri lechaser. So Rav Nachman says, what's ochli kavri dechasa? How does he translate that? No, I'm looking. I think it means the fish ate chasa, because it said he drowned. That's what Rav Nachman, from that, what? The fish. They say the fish. Yeah, you're right there. So what did Rav Nachman say? No tova chasa. Omer Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman said, Holokim, I swear by God, ochlu kavri lechasa. So he says, according to that, chasa was eaten by the fish. Is that what it says? One second. Yeah, here it is. Amar Rav Nachman, apparently here Rav said, yeah, the fish have eaten chasa. That's what he said. When he's drowned, that means he's gone. So Rav Nachman, by saying that, making that statement, that means chasa is no longer alive. That's what that's what Rav Nachman drew from the statement of the goy. So what happened? Midibur Rav Nachman also visu the chasa v'intzavo. She went and got married. Based on Rav Nachman say that the chasa was eaten by the fish, Chasa's wife went. She didn't have to ask him questions. She got married. And she got married, and they didn't criticize her for getting married. That was sufficient testimony that her husband's no longer alive. So from there we say that when we say because over here she got married. But the fact is, it was Maim Shein L'Sof. Where did he drown? Did he drown in a small little pond? Or in an ocean, right? If he said the fish ate him, evidently it was an ocean. Correct? So she shouldn't have gotten married. She shouldn't have gotten married. But since she did get married already, they let her stay married. Okay? But if actually if she marries, we're not going to force the man to divorce her. She didn't ask questions. She would have come to Bez and asked, they said, you're not permitted to get married. But since she went and did get married, we allow her to stay married. Ika di Amri, Insa Rav Nachman Lidvisu. Hear this? Rav Nachman himself married the woman. Oma Chasa gav Rabba Isoi. Hear this? Chasa was a man of renown. So if he would have survived and come out somewhere, word would have gotten back. So Rav Nachman waited a period of time. There was no word. But we said earlier, lo shno gav Rabba, lo shno lav gav Rabba, di'evid l'chatchilo. That means Rav Nachman shouldn't have married her. If the story is Rav Nachman himself married according to this other version, l'chatchilo, it wasn't the right thing to do. Okay? Hayov d'chovn da'avikomalei l'Yisrael kot ketolas pasta. V'shodi l'chivoi b'shabbata. This guy says to a Jew, I want you to cut this premature wheat on Shabbos and feed it to my animals. Yeah? That's what he says to the Jew. I want you to Shabbos to cut the wheat and feed it to my animals. V'lo, and if you don't, and if you don't do it, I will kill you like I killed this other Jew. This is the guy speaking. I will kill you like I killed another Jew. Because I asked him to cook for me a pot on Shabbos. And he didn't listen. And I killed him. So this is Masich V'Tumo. You hear the story? He's not coming to offer any official information as testimony. He says, you better listen to me because you know something. If you don't, I'll kill you like I killed the other Jew. So, but he's saying they killed the other Jews. He's a goy, in passing tell you that the other Jew is no longer alive because he killed him. The question is now the wife of that other Jew, is she permitted to remarry? But of course, you're all of a sudden you're Moshe Feinstein here. Of course. Okay?
The guy had no other intent but to tell you that he's dead.
No, because he's not coming to forth. He's threatening this Jew, if you don't listen, I will kill you like I killed the other person.
So is it true or not?
So, do we accept it as fact, as truth? The answer is we do. Shoma devisu. So his wife heard the statement of this guy to this man, and she was the wife of the first man. And she goes and she tells Abai, Voma osla kamei bai, shoiso klosa rigli. You hear this? So the Shiloh, what this means. It was Talmid Regel. So Talmid Regel, they would lecture. Before Pesach, they would lecture. So he had an endless Talmid Chachomim there. So this is the perfect time. All kinds of great rabbis are there. They'll rule on it. With this information, she permitted to remarry. Omalo Ravada Barava Zil Kamid Rav Yosef. So there's very important Rashi here. Rashi says, take a look, top Rashi. Tloset Rigli. Shul Talmidei Chachom Nikmotzim L'Shmoa Drosha Hilchus Pesach BePesach. Yeah, they would gather on Pesach, which is one of the regalim. Tloset Rigli means Shalosh regalim, and they would hear the Pesach Drosha on Pesach. Voice Shalos Mem, and he asked all these Chachomim who were there. Ubetshuvas Agonim Motzosi. Now this is the one I want you to see. Rashi says he came upon this response of the Goinim. Kol Hanach Rigli the Amoroi. Whenever it says Rigli, the Amoroim, they will gather. Why would they gather? Hainu Yom Shemes Bo'odom Godel. It's a yahrzeit of a great Torah sage. This is the story. Kovim Osa L'chvodo. They would set the yahrzeit day in his honor. Umidei Shana B'Shana. And every year on that day, on the yahrzeit, Shemagia Osa Yom, when it comes that day that he passed away, Miskabtzin Talmid Chachomim, Torah scholars, they gather, because Fiva from that whole area, Oboim Al Kivro Im Sharaom, they come to his grave together with other Jews, Loshiv and they study there. Yeah, that's the Rigla. So great Talmid Chacham gathering of the yahrzeit. That was the story over here. So because she knew there were many Talmid Chacham there, she went to pose the question: is she permitted to remarry with this information? So what did they tell her? So they said, go before Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef will rule on it. You ruled already, right? Could have said, go to Steve. Okay? Steve's good for tiles, okay, but not for this. Okay? Zil Kamer Rav Yosef, the Chorif Sakino. You hear this? He's as sharp as a blade, as a knife. Okay? Oslo Kamei. So she came before Rav Yosef. Poshet Lo Mehomasti. So he resolved from this Mishnah we just learned before. A goy was selling fruit, a fruit vendor, or in Howard's words, a fruit hawker, right? You hear this? He says these fruits are newly, they're from the first 3 yields of a fruit tree. So if they're orlo, you can't eat it, right? That's what this is what the guy's saying. Shel azikahin. Yeah, 1 second. Meaning it was a orchard which was enclosed, and it was during Shvius. Protected, when you protect produce during Shvius, you're not permitted to eat it. It's only produce that's left ownerless for everybody to come take. This is protected produce during the 7th year. Okay, 1 second. Shall neter revayhein. The guy said these are neter revai. It's the 4th yield, which you can only eat Yerushalayim. Loma klum. You hear this? No, he said what the guy says. You cannot believe the guy on what he taking on his word. That it's Orla or it's this or that. Or this is L'chumre. You don't believe the man. Why? The man's a liar. He's a liar. He's saying it's Orla because he thinks by telling people it's a new yield. It's a better quality. Therefore, the man can be trusted. A Jew and a goy, they were traveling. There was an incident. The guy says, I was traveling with this Jew, and it's a tragedy happened, and he died on the way when we traveled together, and I buried him. That's what the guy comes and says. They see wishto, and they married her off. They married based on what he said. There was a group of Jews. Yeah, they're going to Antuchya. That's a location in Turkey. He was unfortunate. There was this group of Jews. They were traveling, and they all died, and I buried all of them. They see what's saying, and based on the testimony of this guy, you hear this? What happened? They allowed all the wives of all these people to remarry. He had the 60 Jews. They're going to Beitar. Yeah. This is when Beitar was under siege by the Romans. Right? This was after the Churban Abayis, Beitar. Shemesu was unfortunate. 60 Jews, they were on the way to Beitar, and all 60 died. Maybe they were killed, they died. V'kavartim. So because of all these incidences of this woman, by saying over what this guy said, if you don't cut the wheat and feed my animals on Shabbos, I will kill like the other person, he's believed. We take that information as correct information. We allow the woman to remarry. Okay? So Via Tosa says Rashi had a problem. The man is hawking his produce, right? He's a vendor. He says it's Orla, we don't believe him, because he says he's only saying that because he thinks that will attract Jews to be more interested. That they're Ravai. What's Hazik? It's protected. So Rashi had a problem. If it's protected, what difference does it make? No. If it's after this Manabir, you have to get rid of it. Shalohoyu, Shomrim, Osa, Elamonim, Ragli, Behemo. No, that's something else. Okay. Further. Me'idin, Lora Ner. Lora Lavono. Yeah. Let's say you saw somebody, and you only saw him by the light of a candle. It was dark. And let's say you saw somebody in the house, and you saw him being shot. And by candlelight, you were identifying him as whatever it is, as El Yochim ben Shmerel. Okay? That's his name. Is it light enough, that level of illumination, is that enough to see a person accurately? It says, no, Me'idin Lord Haner, Levono, Umesin al Pi Basco. Yeah? They heard somebody screaming, so-and-so died. Somebody was screaming, so-and-so died. But they didn't even see the person. Me'sin al Basco, Mais Bechot Shomer al Roshahor. You hear this? They saw a person standing on top of a mountain. You couldn't even make out the person. Voma ish ploni ben ploni mokem ploni mes. Yeah? He says, so-and-so, the so-and-so from such a community, he died. Holchuv l'motzu shem odom. So they ran to the top of the mountain to locate the person who screamed this from the top of the mountain. L'motzu, they didn't find the person. The person wasn't there. Even though they couldn't actually engage with the person directly, that's sufficient information to allow the woman to remarry. V'shemaisa b'tzalmon. No, there was a place called Tzalmon. Norman, you know where that is? Not on one of the tours. Okay. There was an incident in Tzalmon. Be'echot shomar ani ish ploni ben ish ploni noshchani nochosh. A person says, I am so-and-so, the son of so-and-so. I was bitten by a poisonous snake. V'hareini mes. I'm in the throes of death. I just haven't died yet, but I'm going to. And if you, let's say he says he was bitten by a poisonous python, so he's dying. What we had before, if a person just was wounded, he could cauterize a wound. If he was bitten by a venomous snake, it's over. There's no way he's going to survive it. Yeah, and then afterwards, by the time they found the body, it already was disfigured. The body. And no, he identified Ani, Ploni, Ben Ploni, this will come from such a location. Right. So they knew the person. If they wouldn't have found the body, we said that's like the guy on top of the mountain. But the body's disfigured. They can't. Yeah, so you let the woman remarry. The answer is yes. It's no worse than not finding the body at all. It's like the guy on top of the mountain. They allowed the wife to remarry. Okay, further. Omer Rabba Bar Shmuel Torah Beishami Omrim Emisin Al Pi Basko. You just hear a voice but you don't see a person, you don't allow the woman to remarry. You hear somebody screaming, so-and-so died, you do. You do. Maika Mashman, so what's the Chiddush? Right? Rabbi Shmuel says, we have a Stam Mishnah, we have an anonymous Mishnah says that you allow a woman to remarry on a Basko. So what does he have to tell me? The Beis Hillel says so. We have a Maika Mashman, Maslisini, Mashlan di Mishkacha, Stoma, de Misinin, Beishamehi. Because he wants to inform you, if you find another anonymous Mishnah which says you don't, you should know one is Beis Hillel, one's Beis Shammai, therefore we ignore the other Mishnah. If you find another Mishnah that's contradictory to the first Mishnah, you should ignore the second because it's Beis Shammai's opinion. And Beis Shammai against Beis Hillel has no value, doesn't have any standing. That a person screaming on top of a mountain, so-and-so died, and then we go to the top of the mountain, can't locate the person who. Zimmer says, good question. Maybe it was a demon. Maybe it wasn't a human being. Maybe it was a demon screaming this from top of the mountain. He had human form, a shed. Does a demon look like a human being? Inu namu damu. He says, but they also, a demon could appear in human form. So maybe you saw him on top of the mountain. It was a demon. The chozle bebua, meaning they saw a shadow. So the Gemara says, a demon doesn't have a shadow. They also have shadows. A demon casts a shadow. The chozle bebua debua. Yeah? But this is a shadow. A shadow was cast from the shadow. So that tells you, Gemara says, V'dilma l'ditu islu bebua debua. V'dilma l'ditu islu bebua debua. Maybe they also, the shadow casts a shadow. If they have a shadow, maybe their shadow also casts a shadow. On that, Gemara says, Rabbi Chanina omli Yonas and Shida. Rabbi Chanina had a relationship with a demon. His name was Yonas and Shida. Yonas in the shade. You know? Bebua islu, bebua dvislu leslu. He informed me, he says, I want to tell you something about ourselves, about my bunch. Shadows we cast, but shadows of shadows we don't cast. So since the person they saw on top of the mountain, he cast a shadow of a shadow, that means he's a human being. It wasn't a shed. Why not? Sometimes you have a shadow, and then the shadow extends beyond. No, a demon does not have a double shadow, only single shadow. Rashi himself says, either this Rav Chanina had a colleague, a person, a shade who was a friend of his, or he said he had a person who was an expert. He was called Yonis and Shida because he was an expert in demons. One of the two. So Mara says, V'dilma tzaravoy. Good question. Maybe the person top of the mountain was a co-wife, and we say co-wife hates it, her co-wife. Maybe she was lying. She's only saying he died, and then she disappeared because she didn't want we should locate her. So how do you rely on the information? Maybe she was a tzara. Good question. Tana devei Rav Shmuel b'shua hasakona. Kosev knows the api she'in makirin. Since it was a time of sakona, meaning there were decrees from the Romans, we don't take that into account. That to suspect that maybe it was that, something, we don't want to, we act more leniently during this period of time. So Rashi says, "She'adam b'sukin go mi shoyim mushlich bebor kol shomei kolo yichtov get liishto kosen shasakona v'somchin alei b'chol dvaru shomelo anihu plonu and plori v'ochanami shasakona dami shim lo tamin lozel lo timtzo achish teishim sagun." He's saying something else. He's saying, if we know factually she's the tzara, we want to allow it. But here, if we don't give any credence to this, she's stuck for the rest of her life. So it's like being in a situation like a person's on his deathbed. He's right to get quickly because he doesn't want his wife to fall to evil. So his life is, the time is passing very quickly. Reb Kiva lived in Erdo, when I went to Erdo, which was in Iraq, to be Ma'aber the Shona, Motzosi Nechemi Ish based Li, hear this? He found a man, he came upon a person's name was Nechemiah, the person of the based Li, the Pale, from the Pale family, Pales. Okay? Omali Shamati, Shemasino Isha Beretz Yisrael, Api Echod, El Yehuda Ben Bova. He says to Reb Kiva, I heard, he's in their door in Iraq, he says, I heard in Eretz Israel, they don't rely on a single witness to marry a wife, to marry a woman to say that her husband died. V'numisilo, Kenat Vorm, he says, I nodded my head, I said, yeah, it's true. Omali, Emo lehem mishmi. No, he says, tell them in my name. One second. Motzasi nechemio ish based li. Omali, and he said to me, Shamati shemisinas ish beretz Yisrael al pi eid echod. Elo Yehuda ben Bova. The only one who does is Yehuda ben Bova. He allows when Mesidlo, and he says, I nodded my head to him. Ken Omali emod lehem mishmi atem yomdim shab medina meshubeshes bagaisos. I want you to know in my name, that because it's dangerous to travel. He would the Nehemiah based Lee would he says I traveled to Eretz Yisrael, but because there are all kinds of marauders on the road, and the roads are not protected, I'm afraid I can't travel. Yeah. He says, I would go to travel to Israel to tell them this testimony. What's the testimony? I have a Kabbalah from Gamliel Azokin, meaning that Rehudim Bebova, although they all argue with him, his position is the correct position. That even in that you rely on the testimony of a single witness to allow a woman to remarry. Reb Kiva says that when I came and presented what this person said, Reb Gamliel was a grandchild. He said he rejoiced with this information. He says we find yeah. He says we find a supporting position to support Reb Yehuda ben Bava, that you allow a woman to remarry based on testimony of a single witness, and that's why we rule. Yeah? And while he's talking, he remembered there were people who were killed, men were killed in Tel Arzo. Yeah? And he was what? He's a single witness. Reb Gamliel. V'heisi Reb Gamliel n'shosein al pi eid echod. And the test, because it was unresolved. Yeah, it was unresolved. So all these women, they were held waiting. Right? Because there was only single witnesses who said their husbands were killed. But now that he heard this, he remembered, he allowed their wives to remarry. Yeah? What about hearsay? One person is an Eid Echod, and he shares it with another one. A person comes first and says, I saw the man die. Okay. What about a second person heard from that person? Normally that's not accepted testimony. But here, again, Mishum Aguna, that the woman should not remain a widow, a bound widow. Mipi Isha, Mipi Shivcha. From a woman or a shivcha maidservant. No, the P means of her testimony. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shua Omrim, a Messian Isha al pi edecha. Rabbi Kiva Omer, lo al pi Isha, lo al pi Eved, lo al pi Shivcha, lo al pi Krovim. You cannot. We don't rule like this. We don't rule like this. One second. Rega. Further. So Reb Kiva comes out over here. It says what? Reb Kiva says in the Mishnah. Reb Kiva holds you don't allow women to remarry based testimony of a woman, not an eved, not a shivcha, or a relative. So Reb Kiva al Isha lo v'atanya Reb Shimon Eloza Omer Mishum Reb Kiva Isha nemenes lo vigito. A woman, she's believed to bring. She's the one to bring the get. It says. It was written in my presence. It's a valid get. Mikal v'chomer. Why? They said women who normally are not believed. Nemonos lomar meiz bailo. Nemonos lovi giteyen. They're believed to bring their own get. Zushnemes loma mezbalo. A woman's believed to say that her husband died. Enodishnemes lovi gito. She's definitely believed. Noshim shom chachomim hudlo mehemni. Isha ba'alma mehemno. So it seems to be a regular woman. I mean, if let's say, what's his name? Her mother-in-law brings a get to her. Her mother-in-law says her husband died. She's not believed. Because her mother-in-law hates her daughter-in-law. right? A daughter-in-law, right? Want to testify about a mother-in-law, she hates her mother-in-law, right? But if she brings a get because you have a document, we don't say it's a forged document. So here you have women who are not believed to testify that the husband died. But if they deliver the get, they're believed. So a woman who brings her own get, right? Do you believe her that the husband gave her the get? Because if she says, because she's believed to say mezbala. So what's Rebbe Kiva saying? That a woman's believed to say her husband died, right? A woman's believed. So isha ba'alma mehemna. Initially, Reb Kiva held, remember, in Eretz Yisrael, they argued Reb Yehuda Mebava. But after what he heard from this Nehemiah Beis Hadli in name of Zokain, then he changed his position to lenient. Omer lo ma'aseh b'vnei Levi shochel tzoar ira tamarim. You hear this? There was a group of Leviim. They went to a location called Tzoar, the city of palm trees. There's important stuff for you, Norman, for your future tours. Okay, now we're talking about the palm trees. Date grove. You this? And one of the Leviim got sick. They got sick. They viewed b'pundok, you this? And they brought him to an inn. Yeah? Where's our friend? They went back out to the palms. They came back. They left the guy to rest there. The colleague, they said, where is he? Come back to the innkeeper. The woman says, Numas Lehem. In a very, solemn way, she says, he died. Mess, v'kavartiv. She said, I took care of it already. You'll get the bill tomorrow. Okay? 1 second. And based on what this woman said, they allowed the woman to remarry. V'lo kohenis kipuntokis. 1 second. Kloma v'chilo tehei bas Yisrael o kohenis v'yuchesis nemenis kipuntokis ugrua. See, if that's the case, if a lowly innkeeper woman, if she's believed, so a woman who comes from a lineage, she shouldn't be believed. A woman who's of integrity, definitely, you would believe her. Here, even a washwoman, she's a Jew, whatever, you believe her. So you're not going to believe a woman of status, of prestige? Of course you believe her. Okay? Isn't a kohenes no less than an innkeeper? What? They really didn't believe the washwoman, the innkeeper. But she had evidence because she brought his personal effects. So where do you have the personal effects from? That's an indication that he died. So it wasn't just, they didn't take her on her word. There was other evidence besides, right? So he says, if they, why? So that was an indication he died, because a man wouldn't release all that unless he died. So Marius Micro used to Pundokis, just with another few moments. What is the shortcoming Pundokis? She was a shiksa. She wasn't a Jew. And she what? And she just said it in passing that he died. Right? Okay,